Hey there, welcome to a brand new episode of Muzikxpress. My name is Twan and in this week's vlog you will see my interview with Robert Nickson, in which he shares the story behind the Masters and Nickson classic Out There 5th Dimension. But before we start with the interview, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and, very important, also make sure to click the bell button, because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. Alright, here it is, my interview with Robert Nickson. Enjoy! Robert Nickson is active in the music scene for 20 years already. He is responsible for tracks such as Spiral, Somewhere in Spacetime, Heliopause and many others. In my previous interview with Robert, he already shared the story behind his classic Spiral, but this time I sat down with him to ask him about the story behind his very first ever release, Out There 5th Dimension, a beautiful vocal trance track he did together with David Masters and Justine Suissa. My first question to Robert was how he and David got to meet.
So there was a forum online called Trance Addict, and they had this section on there for music producers, well, amateur music producers, let's be honest, for them to share their music and share ideas and everything. And we were both on there, and there was also this IRC, the chat program, and we were on there as well. So we just got chatting to each other like that, and eventually on MSN, if you can still remember that. Yeah. And so we hadn't met in person.
Yeah. Where is he actually from?
He's from the UK.
He's from the UK, okay.
Somewhere down south, I think, but
okay.
I can't remember.
So was there anything that did inspire you guys when you started to work on Out There?
Not really. No. I mean, he started the track. He made a track, and then I said, "Oh, this is kind of cool. I like the melody in there. Do you mind if I remix this?" And he said, "Yeah, go for it." Everybody would remix everybody back then. No one was ever going to sign a track anyway. Everyone was just going to remix it. It wasn't even in our minds that we're ever going to sign a track somewhere.
Just for fun.
Just for fun. You just learn from it, and that would be it. And so I asked if I could remix that, so he sent me some parts, or he may have even sent the Reason project, because we both used Reason at the time. And I kind of changed the chords around, because they were a little bit awkward, as I call them. So the chords, they're different, but the melody was sort of in there as it was, and yeah, I just sort of changed it around and made it sort of the version you hear today. That is how it's then what changed to. Yeah. And yeah, so I mean, it started off as a remix, really. Yeah, and it was an instrumental track first, right? It was an instrumental, yeah. We didn't even think about a vocal at the time. It was, it never even crossed our minds to let's add a vocal to this. Yeah. And do you remember like the working title? He originally so the artist name he used, the project name he used was 5th Dimension, and the title was Rain of Emotion. And I remember seeing that as there is no way that I'm going to send a track to a label or anyone else that's called Rain of Emotion, Yeah. So we spoke about it a bit, and so let's call it 5th Dimension, and the artist name, we'll figure that out later, but we'll just call the track 5th Dimension. Yeah. So at what point did you guys get in touch with Justine Suissa for the vocal? Oh, we didn't. That went through the label. They suggested, because it was, we sent it to Armada Music, and they suggested putting they said, we've got Justine Suissa coming over this weekend for she's going to record some music with Armin, and we'd love to record a vocal for this track as well. Are you guys interested in that? So I was like, absolutely yes, and because she was obviously doing very well with Ocean Lab and the Chicane track, Golden Tactics, and all that. Yeah. So we obviously loved her voice. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So did you get to meet her then or not? Sadly, no. So then you got the vocal, and then you had to add it to the instrumental one. It wasn't even that. It's kind of funny with my stance on Ghost production, because Armin recorded the vocal and he put the vocal on the track, and it was sort of out of our hands at that point. I did eventually get the vocal, of course, just the a cappella vocal, but I didn't produce any of it. I didn't record it. It was just sort of. So actually, Armin put it on the instrumental track. He put it on the instrumental, yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice one. So you guys had a label already then? At that point, we did, yeah. By then, yeah, I remember, because I don't think we had actually signed it yet, but because they were going to record the vocal, they made us at least agree in an email to like, yeah, if we're going to record this vocal, we just need you to agree just quickly in an email, like, yeah, we're going to sign it to the label.
Yeah. But there were other labels that were interested as well, right?
So yeah, so it was a Friday in January, Friday afternoon in January, because I just passed for my driving license as well that day, and on my way home from that, I got a call from Michael Piron from Armada Music. Well, there wasn't even an Armada Music at the time, and he said, "Oh, we're going to set up a label. We're going to call it Armada Music, and Armin loves this track you gave him, and we would like to sign it as the first or one of the first tracks to the label." And I said, okay. Well, that sounds good. I just need to check it with Dave, see if he's up for it. But yeah, basically, yeah. But then before I could speak to him, I got an email from Ben Lost from Lost Language. They wanted it for Lost Language. And I can't remember if he called me or if he emailed me, but Tim Stark, who was still running ATCR at the time, he also wanted it for ATCR, and he was saying, oh, maybe the Thrill Seekers will remix. He might like it, because he obviously remixed Justine before for Autumn Tactics, and so I was thinking, shit, that's a lot of options we have here. I got to speak to Dave, and we spoke about it and the options, because with Armada they also said, maybe Armin wants to remix it. So we're like thinking, okay. And Justine wasn't mentioned in any of this at this point yet, so we didn't know about a vocal. So I was speaking to Dave, well, what should we do? We've got some options here, and eventually it felt, because I knew Armin a little bit better and everything, we went with that choice, and no regrets there.
So it was the first release on Sound Piercing, which is like a sub-label from Armada, and it's like one of the first, or maybe the first Armada release. It's
always a bit unclear. I think Michael told me it was the very first one, but then there's that ASO 001, Nexus Asia, Questia. That could have been out before or at the same time, so it's
one of the first. It's definitely one of the first releases.
Yeah.
So when did you actually meet, like you and Dave? When did you meet, in real life for the first time?
A State of Trance 100. They did it in Bloomingdale. What was it? Bloomingdale. Bloomingdale, the place was called. Yeah. He did a free party for a State of Trance 100. So it was. Yeah, I think it was the first one where people could just show up. It was still free as well at the time. And Dave was flying over for that, so I picked him up from the airport and we drove there. And for us, it was sort of the unofficial release party as well, because it was the first time we got the vinyl. We were just we just wanted the vinyl so badly, with the names on it.
This was your first release, right?
That was my first release, yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So wasn't Justine also at that party?
She was not at that party, no. If she was, then she managed to hide very well.
Okay, yeah. How long did it take you guys to finish the track?
I don't know how long it took Dave to make his version, because his version was never released as well.
Do you still have it?
I might still have it somewhere. Rain of Emotion, yeah. It might be on YouTube if you search for Rain of Emotion.
I'm gonna check.
I think I did it in like a Monday or Tuesday afternoon. It didn't take long at all, really. It was.
So besides Armin, which other DJs did support the track?
Oh, I can't remember now. I know Paul van Dyk played it a lot. He'd always play it either before or after Rank 1 Airwave, that breaks mix that they did at the time.
Yeah.
He'd always play either before or right after it, but I can't remember who else played it. I know Marcus, I think, played it quite a bit. Marcus Schultz. He really loved that chill out version though as well, the Christian Rush one.
So did you expect the track to become so big?
No, we never had any clue. I think when Justine was added to it, then we started thinking there's a possibility that it could do well now, because obviously we're nobodies, and she was a huge name in trance, and so but no, at the start we just had we were happy to have it signed. We just wanted we just wanted a vinyl with our names on it, and we're willing to pay for it, so to speak.
So were you DJing already at that time?
Not really. It's on Twitch now, but we'd stream on Shoutcast at the time, so there was no video, but you could just send the audio through. But my internet connection was always, you could only sort of broadcast at a really low bit rate, so it was kind of terrible. So not really. No, I wasn't playing at clubs or anything. No.
So I'm just thinking, when did you meet Justine for the first time?
One of the Armin Onlys, she performed there, and
it's like years later.
That was, I think that was 2006 or 7, or maybe it was 2005 even. So it was at least 2 or 3 years later, and she performed there, and no one knew about this. You know, they kept that real secret, and she sort of appeared from the stage on one of these things that sort of came up, and you know, so she sang what's it, Burned with Desire, but she was in the so I was standing at the back of the event. It was like this VIP deck, and I was standing there, and then she was there all of a sudden. You know, after her performance, she was there, and I go, wow, and you know, so I spoke to her for a few minutes, and she had no idea who I was, but.
We did a track together.
We did a track together.
Yeah. So during the years, Out There, Fifth Dimension has been remixed by people such as Daniel Candy, Christian Rush, Mike Shiver, Sequence. In 2016, you made a new remix yourself. Plus in 2021, Shantai remixed the track as well. So what is your personal favorite version?
Well, that's tricky.
Rain of Emotion.
Rain of Emotion is my favorite, yeah. No, I think Daniel Candy did a great job with sort of remaking it for the time. You know, it was a necessary, well, not necessary, I mean sort of a necessary version to update and refresh it at the right time, because I think that was around 2008 or something, so it was about 5 years after. And I mean, honestly, I love the Christian Rush mix though, the chill out mix, because it's just there's just so much space to the mix, and I love chill out mixes as well, so yeah.
So yeah, if you could pick whoever you wanted to make a new remix, no matter what genre or style, who would you pick then?
Oh God, it's weird because well, I said earlier I kind of fixed the chords in the track, but they're still very odd sort of chords, and it's hard to sort of remix. It's not an easy track to remix. I think it doesn't really have those standard sort of like campfire song chords. So I don't know. I'd love to see like a progressive mix by someone. You know, like a real progressive mix, like I don't know, an Alex Orion and Orchidea or someone, you know, one of those type of guys, you know.
You should ask Orchidea.
I should.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, next year Out There, Fifth Dimension turns 20. Do you have any plans for the 20th anniversary?
No, but that's a good point actually. I should. Yes. Thank you. Yes. No. Yeah. I should contact them. I should contact them rather for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe like a re-release, like on vinyl with like all the. I'm a vinyl nerd myself. So yeah, what happened to David Masters? Do you still talk to each other?
Not so much. No, I think he had a release or two after Out There. We tried doing a follow-up, but it was never quite what we wanted it to be. But he did. I'm pretty sure he did at least 1 or 2 other tracks on another label. I think he just sort of moved on in life and had a family. As far as I know, he doesn't do anything with music now.
Yeah, we spoke about Armada already, but not long after this track, you also started to work for Armada, which just started as a label. Can you tell a bit more about that? I think you were like one of the first people that they hired.
I started there, I think it was September, October 2004, and it was a small office still in Scheveningen. They weren't in Amsterdam yet. They shared it with David Lewis Productions and another company. We're all sort of in the same office, and I think, well, I say I was the 3rd employee there because there was another guy there, Sander, who you might know.
Oh yeah.
Though he was apparently a stagiaire at the time, an intern. An intern. So whether that counts as an employee or not, I just always see it because I was the 3rd one there. So I'd say I was the 3rd one there. Yeah, no, I worked there for almost 10 years. And
so what did you do exactly?
Mostly the web stuff. I did a lot of the artworks I did for making them digital. So because they were all done on vinyl still at the time. There wasn't really, Beatport and all that. It was just coming along at the time. But then there was always like a standard artwork that was used, and it was just the label. It just had the label name on it and nothing else. And I just thought, we can do better than that, So I started getting all the vinyls and sort of trying to recreate it in Photoshop to make it look like the original. Sometimes just make it, just make it whatever. But just so that we'd have all those online. And so there'll be an actual artwork there instead of just the label.
Yeah, exactly. So we're recording this interview in your studio in Haarlem, early October 2022. I guess this will be the last time I'm doing an interview here because you're going to leave the Netherlands soon. What can you tell about that?
I am, yeah. So I got married last year and my wife is American, so I'm moving over there. So as soon as this camera shuts off, all this goes into boxes as much as possible and
Yeah, so probably by the time this will be aired, you're already in the US.
It could be, it could be.
So that probably also means more US gigs for you, hopefully.
Hope so, yeah, that'd be good, yeah.
Yeah, and you're still both doing like the Robert Nickson stuff and RNX as well as a DJ.
Yeah, doing both still, yeah.
Oh, so they can book you twice on one night.
Yeah.
You can open for yourself. Yeah. So what are you going to miss the most about the Netherlands?
I don't. Yeah, people have been asking me that. It's just so easy to get around here, to get to places. I can just get on my bike and cycle somewhere, and just that kind of thing. I mean, you have to drive everywhere there, which is fine, I guess. But sometimes it's just easy just to get on the bike and go somewhere. And people have been asking about food as well. What I miss, hagelslag or
hagelslag,
or croquette or something like that.
Bitterballen.
Bitterballen, yeah. Chocomel.
Yeah, chocomel, yeah, of course. Yeah. So can you tell us what you're working on right now?
I actually just signed a track to Future Sound of Egypt. That's out end of the month, I think, end of October.
That's like a Robert Nickson track?
That's a Robert Nickson one, yeah. I got another track. I just got to figure out what label to send it to. I haven't quite worked it out. I'm not really. You make tracks and you feel like, it doesn't really fit on that label, and I'm wrong half of the time when I say that, but it's I just got to figure out where to send it to. And so I've got some music. I'm working on a whole bunch of RNX stuff as well, and I just released a synthwave album.
Yeah, that's the second one, right?
The second one, yeah.
Analog 82.
Analog 82.
Yeah, what can you tell about that?
So I did the first one, and it's just so refreshing to work on something that's just completely different. Something that's you don't have to sort of adhere to the rules of trance. You can just make it any way you want. And I mean, I suppose you could do that with trance as well, but still, you've got to have that beat and everything. There's sort of the minimum requirements, I suppose. And with that, I can just do whatever I want, and I can just I can play around with new instruments. I can add a lot more guitars and. So the synths they're a little bit more cheesy, and that's fine. I don't care. It's good. And
so the guitar is like an actual guitar that I hear.
No.
Because I see a few guitars here, but
I do. On some of them, on some of my actual trance tracks, I have recorded guitars, but I always find I'm not very good at recording guitars. It takes me a lot of takes to get them right, and I found a plugin now, and it's just so much easier to do with that. And
I mean, people like me who are not producing, they probably don't hear the difference anyway.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I mean, but you know it for yourself. Yeah. I know, and I want it to sound as good as it can be. It's why. So I had this track with Ryan Leslie, Stratocast, which was released a couple of months ago, I think, and I had the fake guitar on there as well, and it needs to sound better, and so I sent it to Ryan Leslie, who oddly he's a guitarist in the synthwave scene. That's really what he does. So that's how I knew him, and I was like, you feel like doing recording some guitars on the trance track instead? I was like, I always wanted to do a trance track, so okay, perfect, and it just sounds so much better. There's so much more emotion that you can.
So that's probably you're gonna do in the future as well, but then yourself, like recording the guitar.
Maybe if I practice and get better, then maybe I'll try it again. Yeah.
So do you work like differently when you work on a Robert Nickson track or a track for Analog 82 or RNX, or is it like the same?
It's the same, really. I mean, sometimes I start on what I think will be a Robert Nickson track, and then I'm gonna slow it down, and then it sounds better. As a more progressive-y track, and then it becomes an RNX track, and then sometimes you get those which are in between, and then it happens with a few remixes, and I call it a Robert Nickson RNX remix.
Oh yeah.
That's sort of that in-between area where.
But it's good that you have like a few projects, so you're not limited to like one style. Yeah. So during the years you already did collabs with Solarstone, Relocate, Daniel Candy, Ruben de Ronde, Dimension, Mike Push, Driftmoon, and more. Are there still any producers you would really like to work with?
I'd like to hope I'll do another track with Mike Push one day, because he's going to be my neighbour, so to speak, where I'm moving to.
Oh yeah.
It's still a few hours away, but neighbour. So we already kind of spoke about it. So it's. I want to go to his studio. I want to, because you can see that you've seen the pictures and the videos of his studio. It has all the gear there and everything, and I want to kind of abuse his hospitality there and
well, fingers crossed.
Play around with that. So hopefully that comes up, and other guys. It's still on my dream list one day, but you know, someone like M83. I'm pretty sure you asked me this last time, and the answer is still the same.
Exactly.
So M83, yes, get in touch.
I remember because I was watching the other interview that when I made these questions, I was like, I'm just going to ask this question, but then you said M83 exactly.
Yeah. It hasn't happened since, sadly.
Well, let's see next time. So, any vocalists that you would really like to work with, or maybe a new track with Justine Suissa?
Well, that would be amazing. Yeah. That would be amazing. Yeah. Then I should call Dave as well. Get his
follow up like 20 years later.
At the very least, he should come up with the title.
Yeah. So what do you consider to be your best own track or remix ever?
It's funny. I was just thinking about that the other day when I heard my remix of Rain Stars Eternal, the Solar Stone track, and I always loved the original of that, and I always thought it was a bit underrated somehow. And he asked me to remix Motif. I said, yeah, I'll remix that, but I want to remix one of your older ones as well. Oh, let me guess, 7 Cities or so. No, Rain Stars Eternal. I think it was a little surprise, really. And I was listening to that again, and it's one of my favorite. But you know, you can ask me again next week, and it'll be something different. But.
Yeah, but then the studio is gone. Then So do you still listen to your older releases sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, it's weird. It's awkward listening to old releases, you know, because you hear things. Oh God, we've done that so differently, and how did this ever get released on some of them? You just, you know, it's.
Yeah, but it's good because you can hear that you're improving and that you get better at stuff.
I'd like to think that I'm improving since some of those. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, and good luck with your move to the US.
Thank you very much.
Alright, that was it. This week's vlog, my interview with Robert Nickson and the story behind Out There Fifth Dimension by Masters and Nickson. Robert, thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, and very important, make sure to subscribe. Also make sure to click the bell button, because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. And in case you missed it, I also did an interview with Robert in the past already, and that one is about his classic Spiral. You can find that interview on my channel already, so make sure to check it out. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye!